What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to Tuesday's Late Night Agenda. I know the Champions League is on, but I couldn't stream any earlier today. I had a doctor's appointment, which meant that the earliest I could get back here was about 7:30. So, apologise if I'm taking you away from the Champions League football, but I would be very grateful if you keep me up to date with what's going on. And again, thank you for joining me. We've lots to get through today. We're going to be talking about links to Mohamed Kudus. We're going to be speaking about Murillo, the centre-back from Forest, Gonzalo Inacio, a little bit on the Darwin situation, and of course, anything else that you good people would like us to go over. It is your show. Lovely to see you in. Do you know what got me earlier on, folks? I had a little chuckle. So I did a video, as you may or may not know, which was like, how would I describe it? A hypothetical how we might look next season under Arne Slot. And my goodness, some people took it to heart. Some people were saying this channel's so anti-Szoboszlai. No Dominic Szoboszlai in there proves he's anti-Szoboszlai. Really? No Salah in there, even though I mentioned clearly in the video a few times that no problem with Salah being in there or not. It was a hypothetical video for a bit of fun. It wasn't that deep, but it seems to have got on the wrong side of a few people. So, you know, and also I would be mindful that you can only fit 11 players onto a team. So I couldn't include everybody. And I could have, yes, put Mohamed Salah in and I could have put Szoboszlai in. But then I wouldn't have been able to include the couple of potential new signings and stuff. So it's a bit weird. But I hope you enjoyed it because I really enjoyed making it. And I don't know how we'll line up fully next season under Arne Slot. I haven't got a clue. And I would love Mohamed Kudus in. But I'll tell you why Kudus wasn't in my team. It's because he lines up for West Ham on the left side of the attack, and we need somebody in our system potentially for the right side of attack. So that's why he wasn't in there. Initially, I actually did have Kudus in, but I had to change it around a little bit. So look, it was a bit of fun. Please don't take it as anything more than that. And yeah, it was weird. Right, what else we got? I love this channel because I'm a Liverpool fan. This channel keeps me up to date with everything. When I don't watch the stream, I'm just lost. Harry, thank you. Great to have you in, mate. Appreciate you. Colin said, "Evening, Craig. Keep up the amazing content." Thank you, sir. I really appreciate your support as well. I am intrigued, though, about the signings for next season. So I guess we'll get stuck into it over the next while. Where do we want to start off with this one tonight? I think we should start off with a story from BBC Sport. And the story is about the speculation with Darwin Nunez and whether he will depart Liverpool or not over the summer. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen the post that he put up with himself and Ronald Araujo, his international teammate, of course, but coincidentally, he's also a Barcelona player, so that fueled a little bit of speculation. I wouldn't read too much into that, other than, you know, he had some time off, he spent it with his teammate, his international teammate, I mean, and that's it. I don't look too deep into that type of stuff. But BBC Sport have said Darwin Nunez has reportedly emerged as a shock target for Barcelona. The forward social media activity has fueled speculation of a summer exit. Now, if you add into this a conversation that somebody had, or a quote anyway, that Anfield Sector had from Darwin's former agent, who said, "I adore Darwin. Here in Uruguay, they killed him, they criticised him a lot, and now he is a god. He's going to play for Real Madrid and Barcelona. He deleted the photos because he's impulsive and the guy's hot-headed and it would have made him angry." Again, it's a weird one on this. You know, I hope he stays. And again, that was another topic in the video that people were getting angry at me about because I had Darwin through the centre in the team. So I can't win either way with the Darwin stuff. If you don't get behind Darwin and support him, you're not a real fan. If you do put him in the team, then the other set of people moaning at you saying that, "I thought you said you had ambition. I thought you wanted Liverpool to progress." It is a weird situation. You're never going to please everyone, though. I do understand that. So yeah, on Darwin Nunez, I certainly don't think he's going to leave this summer, but it is also obviously concerning about removing those Liverpool photos. But I'd love to know what you guys think. Do you think he is angling for a move away, or do you think it's just an emotional reaction to a frustrating, disappointing day? So he also started blocking some Liverpool accounts from, and again, I'm taking this from what I've read in the media, that were like talking about him going down the tunnel straight after the game and stuff. So it does seem like he's emotionally wound up at times. And I get that. I'm a hothead. I understand hotheads. I do get it. But I certainly think there's a lot more to come from Darwin. And I said, I'm not ready to give up on him. But if he's ready to give up on us, that's another conversation. I just don't know if he is or not. Right. And the new... nope, I'll read that out again, Alex, because apparently the words don't want to come out. Any news on Slot yet, Craig? What's holding it up? Nobody seems to know what's holding it up. I was reading a couple of pieces about the lack of an unveiling, and I don't know if the club are waiting for the end of the season for both Feyenoord and Liverpool. I don't know if there is something, perhaps a little detail holding up an announcement. I honestly haven't got a clue. I wouldn't worry about it, as I do believe it's going to be Slot, and I think everyone feels the same. But I don't know when the announcement's going to come, so I guess in that regard, no real news on it. I don't agree with the removing Liverpool pictures thing. Nor do I, but I think Dejan Lovren did something similar in the past, if I'm not mistaken. And look, for me, what I would have said if Darwin was to say, if I was Darwin's agent or manager and he said to me, I'm annoyed, I feel like I'm being mistreated a little bit by some of the Liverpool fans, or I'm annoyed and I want to show my frustration, I would have just said, put your account on private or delete it for a while. I do feel that removing specifically Liverpool-only photos, I think it does alienate those people who have been very loyal and supportive to him. And what I would say was, we often talk about a divide between match-going fans, non-match-going fans. I think the match-going fans, from what I've always been able to see, have been incredibly supportive of Darwin Nunez, always chanting his name. The travelling cop have been brilliant with him as well. So I hope it's a temporary thing, and I hope that he settles down and we can all start benefiting, because Darwin not being in the greatest vein of form in front of the goal is not helping anyone. It's not helping him. It's not helping us. It's not helping the speculation. So fingers crossed it all calms down. We can have a reset in the summer and we look at it and we attack next season from a clean slate. Kudus is by far the best African midfielder I've ever seen, said London pro player. Look, yeah, I'm happy to talk about the Mohamed Kudus stuff, mate, and we will move on to that in a few minutes, because there was a bit of a... How do I say this? I don't want to say the word exclusive, but there was a confirmation around Kudus earlier on. Actually, I'll talk about it now, to be honest. David Ornstein was speaking about release clauses, and he was talking about a couple of players, and he said Kudus and Paqueta have release clauses in their contracts, so there is a possibility that clubs come in for West Ham's most notable names, and they can generate significant resources for the new manager. That new manager, of course, going to be Julian Lopetegui, after it was confirmed last night that David Moyes will be departing West Ham at the end of the current campaign. So that's good news, because I know how fond of Kudus many of you guys are, and I'm certainly not against the idea of it myself. If there is a release clause in there, I'd like to know what the number is before we know if it's realistic or not for us. But I think, should we do a poll? Should we get a poll on the go? I think we should. Hang on one second. We'll get a poll on the go. Right, so should LFC sign Kudus? Should we sign Kudus? Yes or no? I was actually, you know what really surprised me a bit? A lot of people in the video I did about Arne Slot's possible future 11, a lot of people didn't like the idea of Elise. Some people loved it, but others really didn't rate Elise. These type of things are genuinely intriguing to me, because I would have thought everybody would have been all over the idea of Michael Elise. But there you go. Just shows you we all have different views on these things, and that's absolutely okay. I love your dedication to Liverpool. God bless you. Well, look, it's dedication to the community, mate, to enjoy. I love this. You never have to thank me for any work rates or anything like that, man. I love doing this. Oh, I did see something last night that made me laugh, actually. Just as we were finishing the stream last night, and I said my goodbyes to you guys, and I turned it off, seen a comment come in just at the end that said, "Get a real job." And I thought, dude, I'm never going to have a real job again. I couldn't go back to working in a real job. I mean, one, this pays a lot better than a real job. And two, I'm not educated or ever going to see decent money in my career if this doesn't work out. So no, I won't get a real job, because this is the best job I've ever had. And I want to keep this going as long as I can, because I love it. If you want to be miserable and work in a job that makes you unhappy and then post moan at me about it, that's on you, dude. But I love what I do, so this is a real job. It's a really cool job. It's a really amazing job, in all honesty. I love it. According to his Wikipedia, Kudus plays on the right, so would he not go straight into Salah's position if Salah left? So, when I look at West Ham's lineups, and you'll see Kudus on the left side with Bowen on the right side. And that kind of threw me a little bit when I was doing my video. Because initially, when I was doing out the transfers, I had got Kudus in over Elise. And I guess I somewhat second-guessed myself, because when I looked at how West Ham line up, I kept seeing Kudus on the left side of their attack. And I got into my own head then, and I thought, because I thought he was a right-sided attacker, or a right-sided midfielder, or a right-sided winger, or whatever way you want to phrase it. So I got into my own head a little bit, and then I just second-guessed myself and ended up putting Elise in there. So, yeah, that's what happened with that one. Because, like you, I would have assumed right side. And certainly if you came into Liverpool, that would be the area of the pitch that I think were most in need of competition, the right side of attack. Craig, you're absolutely right about your job. I know, mate. I've worked in, crappy jobs. I've worked in car parks. I've worked in cafes. I've worked in taxi driver. I've worked as, I did customer service. I did loads of jobs that never brought me any satisfaction. I always hated the idea of going into work every day, and now I love it. Now I've got a job where I can do as much as I want, and I get to talk to you guys about football. It's amazing. So a little bit on the I have to mention this, by the way. I can't not mention this. I'm sorry, but so Mr. Goldbridge didn't receive a cease and desist letter. So he did his podcast today, the one where he was telling everyone he was going to read out the cease and desist letter he got sent from Manchester City, and said, and I quote, "If we lose that's football because of it. So be it." So then he goes and does the podcast, and he said it was a social experiment. Nah, it wasn't. You were just lying. You're a liar. There's no social experiment about it. You seen something, you wanted your name linked to it, you threw it out there for clout, and now you're trying to backtrack and say it was a social experiment. It wasn't. It's just another example of Goldbridge lying. That's all I'm going to say about it. Everybody can have their own say on it, but there was no social experiment there. What was it? What was the experiment? Because there was none. You backed yourself into a corner, and you casually tried to say, he didn't even say social experiment right, actually, couldn't even get the right words out. But yeah, just lies, more lies from he who tells many. And likes to send out his own legal letters, by the way, as we've been the recipient of one. Hi. So yeah, rather than pretend football clubs are sending you them, how about you just stop sending threatening legal letters from solicitors to other people? And be very grateful that I'm not sitting here reading that letter out. So, other than that, that's all I wanted to say on it. Because I knew it was going to come up at some point. I had to have my little say on it. But I don't, for 1 second, believe the social experiment nonsense. It was just more lies. I'm okay with Kudus as long as the AFCON is to be played in the summer. The AFCON does my head in, mate. It goes summer, winter, summer, winter, summer, winter. I wish they'd just make a decision. Now, I know sometimes it's dependent on what part of the continent they're playing it in. Sometimes I think it's rainy season in one area. I get that. But it's very disruptive, I guess, for European clubs or any clubs. If a player, you sign them and you think, okay, they've moved the AFCON now to the summertime, and then it goes back to the winter. Because whatever way you look at it, it is a big disruption to a campaign to lose any player for a tournament for a month in the middle of a season. So yeah, I wish we could get some clarity on an absolute certainty of what's happening with that moving forward. What are my thoughts on Openda? So I can absolutely understand the links and why people speak about Openda. The numbers that he's putting up at Leipzig are really impressive, but I can't say I've watched enough of him to say if it's the right type of signing for Liverpool or not. Now, if you look at it, the fact that Michael Edwards, or Liverpool's statisticians, I should say, were looking at Christopher Nkunku. So there was this train of thought that it was between Nkunku and Darwin. Klopp wanted Darwin, and some of the statisticians wanted to go with Nkunku. If you're looking at it in that mindset, with Michael Edwards coming back in, I could see how Openda could form part of the conversation. I'm never really against the idea of signing any player that's come through the Red Bull system, because there's a lot of similarities. We've done well bringing players in from Red Bull clubs in the past. So yeah, it's an interesting one, and I don't think it's the worst shout in the world, but I've not seen anything recently to indicate that Liverpool are going to be looking for Openda. There was links a while back, but I've not seen that recently. Craig, is the confirmation on how much Kudus release clause is? Not that I'm aware of. Now, maybe I've missed this, and if somebody else has the number, brilliant. But the reason I didn't put one in there is because I don't know what it is. All we got was that confirmation from David Ornstein that said Kudus and Paqueta have release clauses in their contracts. So there is a possibility that clubs can come in for West Ham's most noticeable names and can generate significant resources for the new manager. So obviously we've seen Manchester City linked quite a bit with Paqueta last summer. And I think in January, but certainly last summer, that move didn't materialise. There's been more talk that maybe Manchester City would come back in from in this window as they look for a kind of Kevin De Bruyne replacement, I guess. And that's what makes me very glad that we signed Dominic Szoboszlai, because I get the feeling, actually I know for a fact, that Szoboszlai was a player that Manchester City were looking at for that long-term De Bruyne successor, if you want. So I'm very happy that we got in there and got him. And to those who were moaning at me about not having Szoboszlai in my projected team for next season, I'd love him to be in the team, but he needs to play better than he has at the end of this campaign. So that was why he wasn't in the team. It's this idea that if I don't love one player, I have an agenda against them, I find it very strange. I also find it troubling, in all honesty, because I don't have agendas against anybody. I don't care that strongly about negative stuff to have agendas against people. I just give my honest opinion, and it doesn't mean it's the right opinion. It's just my opinion. For those asking, Kudus can play right wing, central attacking mid, left wing and striker, said Melissa. Thank you, Melissa. Half time in tonight's Champions League games, and it's 0-0. So still 1-0 to Dortmund there on aggregate. Now tomorrow, guys, tomorrow we will be on earlier, because as I said, I had a doctor's appointment today, which meant I couldn't have an earlier live stream. But tomorrow I'll be on about just around 6 o'clock, 6:15, and then we'll finish up just before the Champions League semi-final second leg between Madrid and Bayern kick off. So just giving you a heads up on that one. Thank you, Craig, for making my shift go quickly. No problem. And man, we've all been there, mate. We've all been there at work. You know, Dawson, watching stuff, listening to stuff. Yeah, I've had those days as well. What are my thoughts on Paqueta? He's a great footballer. He is. He's a really, really good footballer. We don't need somebody like Paqueta, in my opinion, but I could see where the likes of Manchester City would be looking at him. Very good player. Szoboszlai much better on the left side of midfield, said Danny. We need to sign Adeyemi, said 70 VZE. Dude, I like Adeyemi. You know, I'm not going to push back on anyone suggesting the likes of Karim Adeyemi. We were looking at him, as I'm sure you're well aware, when he was at Salzburg, but he made the decision to go to Dortmund. And yeah, he's a very good player. And I would almost be certain as well, if we are looking at an attacker, he will be on the list somewhere. So yeah, great shout. And also, Danny, thank you, mate, for the Szoboszlai better on the left of midfield, which is weird because a lot of people want him on the right, and some others have thought that he might be a great number 10. Craig, I'm just not excited by your team at the minute, said Whitehammer. It's a weird time, mate. You know, even for us as a channel, the interest in Liverpool has dropped off in the last few weeks somewhat. You can see it in the numbers of each stream and video, because I think the season's kind of in a weird place now. You know, third place is tied up. We've got Jurgen's last game coming up. We don't actually play this weekend as well. We're on next Monday against Villa. So yeah, I could do with a bit of excitement as well, mate, which would be a nice, tasty summer signing or two, buddy. And hopefully we get that sorted. Super Chat's flying in all of a sudden. Started off with none, now they're flying in. Dodd played centre 10 and Elliott as a wide 10 in slot 11. I don't see when we look at a 4-2-3-1, if that is what Slot goes with, because 4-3-3 is a possibility as well. I don't like the idea of Elliott wide anymore. I think he needs to be central, and I think he deserves that chance. So for me in the system, and if you haven't watched the video, this is the mocked up potential hypothetical 11 I went with. It was Alisson in goal, Bradley at right back, Robbo at left back. The centre back pairing that I hypothetically spoke about was Virgil van Dijk and Diamonde from Sporting Lisbon. Into midfield, the double pivot for me was Trent and McAllister. Then I went into the three where I had, in this signature video, I had Elise on the right, I had Harvey Elliott as the central player, and I had Cody Gakpo on the left with Darwin Nunez as the striker. And of course that led to all kinds of arguments and accusations that I'm neglecting Salah, or I'm showing love for Darwin for no reason, or it couldn't possibly be that I was trying to show the new potential players in the system. If Salah's playing, of course Salah will play, and he'll play either on the right or centrally. And I'm sure Darwin, nope, that's Soboslai, I'm sure he'll play as well. But I needed to showcase the signings that I think are potential. Craig, great content. Thank you, Benny. Very talented and hard-working players, both Kudus and Elise. I would just be a little worried about their injury history. Particularly, yes, on the Elise one. So it always worries me, Benny, when you've got a player who is an explosive player like Elise. If they pick up hamstring injuries and they become persistent, that's really worrying, because they will lose that explosiveness over time. So I prefer the idea of Kudus as well. As I mentioned earlier on, I kind of talked myself into Elise as I look to see Kudus play more left side for West Ham. So yeah, if I could remake that video tomorrow, I probably would have Kudus. After the conversations we've had in here, yeah, I probably would put Kudus to the right hand side. Have I heard of Jacob Greaves? No. I don't know much, Nick, about the under-18s and the youth players. I've always say this, and I'm honest about it, embarrassingly, I just don't have enough time to keep up to track with them. But thank you for the heads up. Craig, are you sure only 2 signings will be enough for next season? Oh, I expect more. Sorry, again, I probably didn't explain at the start of the video clear enough. But no, I expect more than 2 signings. You know, for instance, I don't know if... pick a name. Salah. I don't know what happens to him. I don't know what happens to Virg. So yeah, I would say 3. Right now, as we sit as a squad, I would like 3 signings. Because remember, we have to replace Thiago and Matip in my head. So that's 2 immediately. And then you'd add in the other wide forward. So for me, I think we need a midfielder, a centre-back, and then I would say a wide player to give Mohamed Salah if he stays competition. And if he doesn't stay, we still need a right-sided attacker, in my opinion, anyway. What do you think about Nico Schlotterbeck at Dortmund? After watching him in the Champions League, I think he could be a great signing. Look, Dortmund have a good squad. Dortmund have brought through good players, no doubt about that. And I don't know who's on the list, which is, again, not much use at this moment in time, but I'm sure we could throw in 10 or 20 names. But on that, caught offside today, have been linking Liverpool once again. They say Liverpool head the queue for Sporting Lisbon's Gonçalo Inácio. Now, what frustrates me about the links to Inácio isn't whether he's good enough or not. It's the fact that we could have had him last year for €20 million less than we'd have to pay this year. You may remember last summer, before he signed that new deal with Sporting, his release clause was 40. And we could have had him. And we needed a centre-back then, but we didn't act. So fast forward on a year, he signs a new deal, and now we'd have to pay €60 million to go and get him. That would annoy me. You know, €20 million, €20 million, whatever way you look at it. Like, it's a lot of money. And the fact that if we end up going back in for the player we could have had, I just wonder why we delayed. You know, be happy we got the player, don't get me wrong. But it would be the type of thing that I would find a little bit confusing from a club that is known for being somewhat frugal about transfers. Did I see Nunez's story? Do you think he'll join Barca and Araujo to Liverpool? I would not read too much into the picture with Ronald Araujo, other than they're international teammates. Maybe they both had a day off and they hung around together. Is there maybe whispers in either one's ear about a deal? Maybe. I don't know, but I certainly wouldn't take that from the image of him with Araujo. Now, if Darwin was posting with a Barcelona player that wasn't his international teammate, that would be a different conversation. But I wouldn't look too deeply into the fact that he's just there with Araujo. What do I think about Eze? Again, very good. Very good player. Both Eze and Elise are really good. What's the surprise defender? No problemo. Let me just grab my notes and we'll get to this. Right. Oh, is this the right one? No. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Bear with me. I have to go through my notes to get to this. What's this? Is this one? Yeah. So, The Athletic have said Liverpool are reportedly one of the clubs interested in signing a Nottingham Forest star Murillo this summer, but his latest transfer evaluation may end that interest. The centre-back arrived from Corinthians for a fee of £11 million and has become a key player this season, starting 30 games in the league, and he's proven to be a smart acquisition, clearly has sizable potential. The article goes on to say, though, that they might look for a fee of about £50 million if Liverpool or anybody were to come in to sign him. So I guess there's two ways to look at that. We can look at it from the point of view of they only paid 11, or you can look at it from the point of view of they paid 11, but they've also proven he can hack it in the Prem. That's where the increase is. And ultimately, I don't think £50 million is too big of a number for a centre-back if you get the right one. Now, I don't know if Murillo's the right one. I don't know if Diamande or Inacio's the right one. But Inacio, you're talking a similar fee, €60 million, about £52 million. And Murillo, if that's the one that Edwards and Hughes want, again, it is what it is. I think it's a reasonable fee. It's a big jump up from what Forest paid for him, but, that's the way football goes. So, yeah, anything in and around 40 to 60 million, I think is realistic for Liverpool to spend. I don't expect us to be going up into the 80, 85, 90 bracket. Nomad said Murillo had a very good season. Kudus and Somerville said Justin. Again, both very realistic, very reasonable options, mate, that certainly have had, particularly in Somerville's case, a lot of links to the club in recent times. There was a piece when it first became apparent that it was going to be Arne Slot that was taken over that suggested that that Somerville was at the top of his priorities. But this is where I get a little bit stumped. And I'm sure you guys are the same. I don't know. If I read a story now and it says Arne Slot wants to sign X or Y, I start to think, is this a fabrication story? Because we know Slot's coming in to be a head coach, and we know that Edwards and Hughes are going to be involved more in the transfer stuff. Or is it just that he's suggesting him, or has he been given a list and he thinks, of the list I like this? So it's really difficult to know what's what at the minute with transfers. So the sooner the better we get some clarity and we get the announcement, then I think maybe we can get more of an understanding, because once the announcement's made, I think you'll start to see the journalists give us more of an insight into how transfers are going to work under the new regime. It seems as if it's going to be Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards, mainly Richard Hughes, that is going to be making these decisions, along with obviously Hunter, the recruitment team, Will Spearman, the data analyst, and a few others. So I don't know how much of a sway to say if Arne Slot wants X or Y. We do like a Brazilian. Oh, we do, yeah. You love a Brazilian. Automatically, I assume Brazilian players are going to be brilliant. Honestly, I'm not even joking. You tell me Liverpool are signed a Brazilian, I'm ready. I'm good to go. Chiesa. Interesting one, Clint. There was a story about Chiesa yesterday. I think it came out of Italy. And it was saying Liverpool are one of the clubs mentioned. But I feel like there are a few players that we've been linked to for years and they never happened. Chiesa was one of them. Asensio was another one that we seem to be linked to forever and nothing ever happened. So I don't know. I mean, good player. Certainly come back from that ACL injury well. But I've no idea if Liverpool are going to look to move or not. What is the clause of Kudus? Nobody knows, or at least, sir, I don't know the number, Pound. But But it was revealed today by David Ornstein that Kudus and Paqueta both have release clauses in their West Ham deals. I don't know the number of the clause though. Royce on a free. No, too many injuries. Look, again, that was another player, Marco Royce, that we've been, linked with for quite a while, but no, nothing there. So, really quickly, because we've no sponsor on tonight's show, Cardiff, don't forget, those tickets are now on sale. If you want to come and see us in Cardiff, it is an all-ages event, meaning it's free for everybody to come of all ages. The event isn't free, but you're free to come along. Whether you're 10, whether you're 90, it's an all ages event. You can get your tickets with the link in the description of this video, or of course you can scan that QR code on the screen. It's going to be a great show. It's an amazing venue. You're going to get to meet the whole Anfield Agenda team. It'll be myself, it'll be Connor, it'll be Ben. We'll all be there for a meet and greet afterwards as well. And we're going to have loads of fun. Those tickets went on sale, I think, 2 days ago. So if you want to come and see us, it is just £15 per ticket, £15. And you can get 4 tickets for £50 as well. So if you and your mates want to go together as a group of 4, you can save even more money there and get 4 for 50 quid. So we hope to see you. It's going to be brilliant. Liverpool's going to go on sale later this month. And Belfast is also on sale. Ticketmaster for the Belfast one. Do you think Edwards will find a smart signing to replace Salah? And do you think FSG will back Edwards due to their effort to sign him? So I hope, we'll start with the latter part of that, Harry, if you don't mind. I do hope that they back Edwards and Hughes, because you're right, they did make a big play to sign him. I guess the fear that we all have is that we end up at some kind of super Moneyball type thing where we're again looking to be almost too clever. Sometimes, yes, there are diamonds to be had. Sometimes there are bargains. Look at Andy Robertson. Genius. Absolute genius signing. But sometimes you need to spend the money, right? And sometimes you need a Virgil van Dijk or an Alisson Becker. And you have to go out there and spend. So I'm hoping it's a mixture of both. But again, I can understand how anybody is concerned. And also, and I can't say this enough, FSG are cheap. People, I feel like I've got too soft on our owners lately, and summer transfer windows are usually the time where I speak up most, because I do think, yes, Jurgen Klopp covered up a lot of our deficiencies. He's worked miracles for the owners, but Arne Slot, whilst he's going to be a good coach, isn't Jurgen Klopp, and we need to make sure that we're challenging, Again, look at the net spend stuff that we spoke about the other day. I still have the numbers here. I see this was doing the rounds again today, actually, the net spend thing. Where is it? So here it is. So these are big 6 clubs and the major trophies they've won with their net spend. Now, all of this period is since Jurgen Klopp has come to Liverpool. So just start off with the net spend, right? Because it's pertinent to what we're talking about here. Since Jurgen Klopp has been at Liverpool, our net spend has been £346 million. Now, net spend means after player sales. So basically, we've sold X amount, we've bought X amount, and we've ended up spending £346 million after we've recouped money. So that's over a 9-year period, which is what? 9 fours, 36, just under 40 million a year, about £38 million a year. So if you look at that, and then you look at what Manchester City have spent, £630 million. Not all that much more, 40% more than us. But it gives you an indication, okay, they've spent more money. But where it really starts to show up is when you look at Chelsea and Manchester United. In the same 9-year period, they've both spent £1 billion. £1 billion net after recouping money. Even Arsenal have spent 702 million net. And Spurs 570 million net. So we're by far and away the lowest net spenders in the transfer market. But we're expecting managers to go and challenge. Now, they're not inextricably linked, but there is enough in history to show that you do have to spend. If you really want to challenge and win stuff, then your net spend does have to come up. And we have the ability to do it. We have the ability to do it because we're in no trouble for profit and sustainability. None. So Liverpool can spend more money. Now, the fact that we freed up Thiago and Matip's wages is a lot of money. Between them, that's about I think it's about 14, 15 million pound a season just by getting those two guys' wages off the book. So I hope we spend. And as I said, Jurgen Klopp's been working miracles against other clubs who've spent a lot more money than us, and yet we're still expected to challenge. So the owners have to pony up. Timothy said, Craig, we need at least 5 signings. If for all competitions, the squad needs to have enough depth. So there is a mixture here. I'm not against youth team players coming through. Like, I know new shiny things are always great, and we love new shiny objects, but I'm defo not against promoting youth players if they're good enough. For instance, Bradley Kwanzaa, great to see them come through. Dan's, I think we'll all agree, Dan's looks like a very good player as well. Then you've Bobby Clark, McConnell, many, many more. But you don't want to be solely at that, because sometimes there's ups and downs with younger players coming into a team as they develop and fill out and they get used to the rigours of Premier League football. So you do need to have a mixture. And I think we've done great business in the academy with the players that we've brought in, and the coaches have done amazingly to bring them through. And saving money in the long term isn't necessarily a bad thing. You know, if you can bring through academy graduates and people you paid £1 million, £2 million for, or even let's say 5, 6, 7 million, that's a lot less money than bringing in a 25-year-old midfielder that you have to spend 60 million on. So for me, it's about getting the mix right. Yes, supplement the squad with good academy products, but sometimes you've got glaring holes that need to be filled in the here and now. And there's nothing wrong with that either. For Champions League, we need good players to compete and good player backup potentials. Yes, absolutely, Tanya. But I would say our squad isn't lacking in talented players. Between injuries and some poor decisions, I think, this season got away from us. I don't think it was a lack of squad depth this season that did us, because we fell off when the players were coming back. I think it's a mixture of both. Maybe mental fatigue as well. So I think minimum 3 first team signings. And then let's see what Arne Slot thinks of the academy system when he comes in. Because Bradley will be in and around next season. Kwanzaa will certainly be in and around next season. So yeah, it's a mixture of both for me. Oh, did Dortmund just score? Go on, Dortmund. Go on. Yes. Go on, lads. That's class. That's class. That is mental. Like, let's be honest. This is a beautiful story. Dortmund, none of us thought Dortmund would be potentially reaching a Champions League final. I'm so happy for their fans and for them if they hang on and get this done. That's amazing. I have a question though, and it popped into my head the other day and I forgot to search it, so I want to ask you guys. Am I right in saying that the last Champions League final Dortmund lost to Madrid or to Bayern was in London as well? Was that also at Wembley? Because I wonder, are they just brilliant at Champions League finals when it comes to getting to Wembley? If that's the case, the next time it's in Wembley, I'm putting money on Bayern or Borussia Dortmund to make the final. But I thought it was Wembley when they lost to Bayern Munich, but I couldn't remember off the top of my head. It was. There you go. There you go. So maybe next time we know the Champions League final is going to be in Wembley, we should all just go and lump a few quid on Borussia Dortmund to get there. Hopefully this time they can finish the job. It's going to be daunting, you know. They're either going to be up against Bayern or Real Madrid, but I think we'll all be cheering on Dortmund in that one. Not because of any distaste for anybody else, but let's be honest, who doesn't love an underdog story? And dumping out a state-owned club in the process. Yes, that too, Nomad. That too, my friend. Craig, we lost our rhythm towards the end of the campaign. Too many injuries. I hate saying this, but I feel it to be true. Honestly, I think that FA Cup game against United psychologically did something. even if it was that the lads were playing on fumes but were somehow finding a way, it felt like after that result, confidence got dented a bit, belief got lost a bit, and then when we followed that up with a draw in the league against United, yeah, I think more was a psychological problem than an injury problem that cost us it. But also, others have said we probably shouldn't have been in a title race. Because I think if we're being really brutally honest with ourselves, Manchester City and Arsenal have played better football than us this season. They have. You can talk about the reasons why, and that's a whole other conversation. But they have. So it felt like to me we were hanging on in a title race. And yes, of course, we could have had a chance to win it, but I never once felt that we were playing amazing football throughout the season, or this was a vintage Liverpool campaign. It felt like the emotion behind Jurgen Klopp departing pushed us on for a while, but eventually that emotional energy ran out. And I don't like to say that. I don't like to say United got in our heads, but I think realistically it did. And also, there's another aspect to it. Not just that it was United, it's that it was a crap United. Like, they're not very good. And they knocked us out. And they knocked us out fair and square. But they're not very good. And that got in our heads as well, I think. I agree, Craig. Belief was lost after the Man United loss. Then when the team doubled down on tactics, he became very predictable, just my 2 cents. It is what it is, you know? It is what it is. I've come to the mindset that I just want the last 2 games to be about Jurgen. I want the last 2 games to be about what we got with Spurs, which, to be fair, was the lads playing with a smile on their face, a far better brand of football. Yes, we conceded 2 late goals, and we can talk about that, but there was enough there to suggest, all right, we could have a good last 2 games. And the Villa game's going to be a really interesting one coming up on Monday. They still have a good bit to play for, but they're pretty much safe in Champions League now as well. Spurs look like they've messed up. So I'm intrigued by that one. And then obviously to finish the season against Wolves, you know, that's going to be an emotional day because Jurgen's going to be saying goodbye. So, I said this to you guys yesterday, I'm going to say it again. Sorry about the sniffles here, by the way. I don't know why all of a sudden my nose will start running. If we can sell 2 tickets every day for the Cardiff show, we'll sell it out. There's 88 days or something to the show. So, if we can get 2 tickets every day sold, boom, we're good to go. So, if you're thinking of coming, again, a reminder, tickets are on sale. You can scan the QR code or use the link in the description. We've priced them at just £15 and 4 tickets for £50 if you want to go to a group of mates or your family. It's an all ages event and we're going to put on a fun show. I can't wait to meet you all as well. Same in Belfast, can't wait to come and meet you guys. And Liverpool, can't wait to come and... 1, can't wait to visit Liverpool again. 2, can't wait to come and meet you guys. And 3, I can't wait to see the new Hot Water Comedy Club venue because I love the old one as well. Can I know what Kudus' release clause is? I don't know the number. That's the thing, mate. We just know that David Ornstein said that Kudus and Paqueta have release clauses in their West Ham, but there was no talk of the actual number. So, yeah, I don't know the number. PGMOL stuffed up our season as well. Yes, they... well, not just theirs. I think the PGMOL shafted a lot of people this season. I only want Kudus because of his celebration. Where should Royce go after leaving Dortmund in the summer? MLS for me. Sorry, my dog's crying in the kitchen there. I was just trying to figure out what was wrong with him. MLS. If I'm Marco Royce, I'm off to the MLS to enjoy, a latter part of my campaign. Yeah, I love the idea of playing in Turkey. I've said this to you guys before. If I was a footballer and the opportunity to play in Turkey came up, I'd definitely take a look at it. I think Turkey's a football mad country, and I think I'd have enjoyed playing football in Turkey if I was a player. Would I take Mats Hummels if wages were low? No. I wouldn't. We need to look to the future. Sorry, one sec. Kwanzaa has been brilliant. That mistake wouldn't have been punished like that in 9 or 10. Look, Kwanzaa's been fine. I have no issues with Kwanzaa, and I expect a young centre-back or a young player to make a mistake. So, didn't bother me in the slightest that he made a mistake or two. You expect that. I've seen enough to know he's good enough. I think you guys would probably agree with me on that one. What do I think about the chances of Osimhen signing for us? I got to be really honest with you. I don't want them. I don't rate Osimhen for the money that's going to be asked. So for me, I don't want Victor Osimhen at Liverpool. I'd be concerned because look at the state of Napoli's season after winning the title. So yeah, for me, Osimhen, Kvaratskhelia, no. I don't think they're worth the money. And it doesn't strike me as a very Michael Edwards type signing either. Off topic, but I want to list my favourite centre-backs. Kwandike, Cannavaro, Quanio, Ramos and Quandini. How did Ramos get in there? I detest Sergio Ramos. Sorry, if anybody's saying that the stream buffered for a minute, yes, it did on my end as well. Apologies about that one. So just refresh if it did. I did get a little yellow warning here to show me that I had buffered. So yes, apologies on that one. What do I think about signing Dan's? I'm confused by that. Dan's is already a Liverpool player. We don't need to sign him. Do you mean a new deal or whatever like that? Look, Jayden Dan's looks like a really, really promising forward. I don't know what the club will do with him next year. I don't know if Arne Slot will want to put him straight into the first team. If maybe they think a loan would be beneficial to him. But either way, I'm looking forward to seeing Jayden Dan's development. What are my thoughts on Royce leaving Dortmund? I don't really have many thoughts on Royce leaving Dortmund, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's his decision, his right time. Yeah, I've no issues. I don't want him at Liverpool if that was the question. What centre-back would you want to bring in the summer? I like Diamonde. I've said this a few times. I like Diamonde. I think he'd be a good fit. Inacio, I like the look of as well. I think he'd be a decent fit. Mark Gay from Crystal Palace, I think would be a decent fit. The kid from Benfica, Silva, although he costs a lot of money. I don't know, but whoever it is, I want us to go out and get somebody who's going to be ready to play, and robust has to be important because Kanade has had a lot of little niggly injuries. Kwanzaa's young, so we have to expect some up and downs there, and Matip's departing. So I think we need a robust centre-back who's going to be able to come in and play 30 games, 30 league games. Do I think Arne Slot will do good? I certainly hope so. There's no guarantee. I can't sit here and tell you without a shadow of a doubt that Arne Slot's going to win Liverpool the league. I hope he does. I'm excited by the prospect of it. I like what I've seen from him. But I've no idea. I can't sit here and guarantee you that it's going to happen. This dawning of a new era is rather exciting, isn't it? It is, defo. Yep, it is. It's exciting, but it's also scary. Change is always scary in life, but it feels like the right time. It does feel like the right time. I'm glad it didn't come to the conversation of should the club move Klopp on. I never ever wanted that conversation to come up. So the fact that Jurgen made the decision himself, I feel like it's taken a lot of pressure off. Should Liverpool sign Kudus? We've ran that poll and almost 80% of you guys, 79% of you think yes, Liverpool should sign. Pure goal scorer would be great. Do you know what? I'm going to ask you guys next what position you think Liverpool should strengthen. So let's go with that. If you could pick one of these positions now, just one. I know you'll say we need 2 or 3 and that's fair. But let's just pick one for this poll. So, one sec. So let's start with that one. Okay, add another option. Okay, and one more. So what have we got? Okay, so I put in 4 options, right? What area... Put that last A in there, Craig. 1 second. What area do we most need a signing? And I've given you 4 options, so vote away. Options are centre-back, wide forward, defensive midfield, or striker. They're the options. And as I said, I know you may think a full-back or whatever, but these are just, you know, a jumping-off point for conversation. What are your thoughts on Nunez deleting all of his posts with Liverpool on Instagram? So my first thought, Shay, is I hope he's okay, and I hope if he isn't okay that he gets the support he needs. That's my first hope. After that, I can't say I like it because I don't. I think it reflects poorly on the club. So whatever you think about the fans, if you think Darwin has the hump with some Liverpool fans and Darwin received some disgusting threatening posts, I understand that entirely. But I don't like that he's pretty much just removed traces of him playing for Liverpool, because I feel like that's very unfair to his teammates and the club, who certainly wouldn't be involved in any of the disgusting, and they are disgusting, posts that he's had to put up with. I can't believe I've had to explain this during the week, but the amount of people who don't understand the difference between somebody being critical of a player's performance on here or on their own social media accounts or whatever, versus somebody going and either tagging a player directly or going into their own DMs to pose vile criticism. They aren't the same thing, and they shouldn't be lumped in together. I would never, ever target a player and go after them in DMs or by posting at them on social media. Never. Wouldn't enter my head. But I will absolutely come on here and say I think X or Y had a stinker today, or I think X or Y needs to pull up their socks. But for some reason, in this day and age, people want to equate that to hate and toxicity, and they lump it in with the other stuff. It isn't, and nor should it ever be. What I do, or what other YouTubers do, is an opinion that is in a limited area based off what we see. The other stuff is scumbag behaviour, and I don't like that it gets confused, because it's very, very different. You're part of my daily routine. Hi from Boston, said Adrian. Thank you, mate. Appreciate you. And hello. Lovely to have you in with us. PSG robbed of a pen. Well, VAR was there, so if it was in or outside the penalty area, then, you know, fair enough. Sprina, could you come here for a sec? I don't know if he'd heard something on that, but he was just crying non-stop. So I don't know if he had heard a kid or outside, like, but that non-stop.
Oh, well, I'm back. I'll just do wait in the garden.
So yeah, PSG robbed of a pen. I haven't seen the incident, mate, but we will go back. Sorry, my wife just came back in. Our poor little Harvey was in there crying in the kitchen, and I felt awful being in here, not being able to get into him. Does Kwanzaa now have the experience to play regularly? Yes, I would say so. But I don't know. I don't know if he's ready to play, let's say, 40 games in total over the course of a season, including cups and European games and stuff. I don't know if he needs a bit more protecting for a little bit longer, if you get me. Kimmich would do great. Right back cover, DM and experienced. Doesn't seem like an Edwards type signing though. And also, I think more strongly linked with a reunion with Guardiola from what I've seen. Who would be my number one defensive midfield target going into the summer? I don't really have one. Yeah, we talked about this last night. I still feel like Ugarte was one that we missed the boat on. Looking around Europe now at young defensive midfielders, I've got to say I'm not all that clued in. And then somebody said to me yesterday that Slot doesn't necessarily use an out-and-out DM in his system. More somebody who's able to resist the press, win the ball back and pass it off. So, I don't know. And I know that's a cop-out answer, but I could throw out random names at you like Vifer and all these others, but I really just don't know. I don't know who would be the best fit. There's a lot I still need to get used to about Arne Slot that I think will come over time. Like if this was Kloppo, these conversations would be a lot easier because I'd know what to expect. Tchouaméni, surely Real Madrid won't sell anyone. I think they will have to make some sales this summer. Like Camavinga, Tchouaméni, yeah, both of them brilliant. But yeah, I really just don't know the answer, mate. It's a thin line between free speech and criticism and vile speech. The line is clear, but getting thinner. So, again, just to confirm this, Ace and Tino, if I came on here and said Trent had a poor game, 5 out of 10, needs to be better, drop him. That's me giving an opinion based off what I'm seeing. If I then go onto the Anfield Agenda Twitter account and I logged in and I said, at Trent Alexander-Arnold, get out of my club, you're a fraud. And then I jumped into his Instagram and I was like, get out of my club, you're not good enough. There's a very clear distinction there, right? One is said in reaction to what I've seen in front of my own eyes, and the other is just scumbag behaviour. So I don't think the line is that blurred. I think it's more a case of we've let people away with too much for too long. People have gotten too comfortable being able to run their mouth via a keyboard without consequences. Because these people would not say and do these things in the real world. Because nobody acts that way. Nobody. So I don't like that the anonymity the internet provides these people has let them get away with it for so long. Because let's be honest, you've all been at the end of some replies on social media or some messages on social media that if anybody said them to your face, you'd either hit them a slap or you just walk away from them and push them away and leave. But these days, people just feel like they can do and say what they want without any consequence. Like, for instance, Mr. I got sent a legal letter from Manchester City. If I'm looking at that and I'm Manchester City, I'm thinking, well, you are now actually looking at us and throwing around lies about us. And this crap about a social experiment is embarrassing. How this hasn't been called out far and wide, I don't know. It's lies. And again, there's a clear distinction. There's a difference between criticism and abuse. There is, Colin. But unfortunately, mate, I see it every week. Somebody in our chat will say, Harvey Elliott shouldn't have missed that, or Harvey Elliott had a poor game. And then you'll see people in the chat say, can we stop the Harvey Elliott hate? It's not hate. And I'm a big Harvey fan. I just use him as an example. It's not hate. It's just somebody having an opinion on what they're seeing in a game. Hate is when it doesn't stop at the end of the game. And it carries on into other platforms and becomes more aggressive. Basically, I think social media is going to destroy itself because it won't police itself. I've seen an article today that was about the English footballers going away for the Euros, and it was that the police and the FA are going to crack down on any racist or hateful posts towards the players, which they should, of course. But what about the rest of us? What about the non-famous people that get abused on social media every day, or get threatened on social media every day, or get hate on social media every day? It needs to stop in general, because we shouldn't accept it as a society. So when I speak about referees and I say it's the tribalism of referees of us laughing at poor decisions that allow it to continue. It's the same with telling people ignore it. That's why I've always pushed back when people have told me to ignore stuff. We shouldn't, and the world shouldn't have to ignore it, because it shouldn't happen. Ignoring it is just putting a sticking plaster on it, and it's just going to get worse. It needs to be stopped, and these people need to be held to account. That's my point, I guess. Will there be a UEFA Champions League final watch along? I don't know. We haven't discussed it yet. Yeah, that's the honest answer, dude. I don't know. Right. So, this popped up today just before I went live, and it made me chuckle. And it's from LFC Transfer Room, and they posted, Manchester United make Gareth Southgate their top target as a new head coach. They finished the post by saying, well, we thought they wanted Ten Hag to stay. And I said the same to Ben. This whole situation with United is going mental. Like, 1 week, Ineos have done a complete look around the club, and they've decided Ten Hag's the guy. Then the next week, you see Mourinho fancies, return to United. Then it'll be, no, Ten Hag's the guy. Then you'll see Manchester United are looking at Bayern Munich manager to come in if they fire Eric Ten Hag. And then again, it'll be, no, Eric Ten Hag has the support of Sir Jim Ratcliffe. And now all of a sudden it's Gareth Southgate again. It is mental what goes on at that club. Or at least how it gets spoken about publicly. It's nuts. And please do take on Southgate, by the way. Please do. Somewhere I like to think Harry Maguire is doing a happy dance in his back garden at the idea of Southgate coming in. He had enough and went scorched earth. Sure, I've done that myself. We all have. I don't think he meant to slight the fans. Again, look, there is no right and wrong answer to it, mate. We look at the conversation and we all have our own perception of it. And all I can say about the Darwin situation is I'm genuinely sorry that he has to deal with disgusting threats coming his way. Nobody should have to put up with that. Darwin or nobody else. So I just think putting the account on private or deleting the account for a while would have been a better way to go about it than removing Liverpool pictures, because his teammates and the club certainly have done nothing on him. If he thinks certain sections of the fan base have been targeting him, I can understand that as well, of course, as a human being. And like you said yourself, I've gone scorched earth as well a few times. So I don't judge Darwin for what he's done with the socials. I don't judge him at all, because it's got nothing to do with him playing on the football pitch, and that's what I concern myself with Darwin. All I hope is that he's okay. Truly, I hope he's okay as a guy, as a person, as a human being. And I hope that he finds a way to just stick with his loved ones and those around him who have his best interests at heart. That's all I wish for him or anybody, because nobody should have to put up with that type of abuse. How does anyone know what was said to Darwin? I don't know. I don't know if people have seen screenshots. I don't know, is the honest answer. His former agent said, I adore Darwin. They killed him. They criticised him a lot over in Uruguay. And now he's a god. The part I didn't like was he's going to play for Real Madrid or Barcelona, and Barcelona, he said. He deleted the photos because this translates poorly. He said he deleted the photos because they tell him any nonsense. I think he means they were talking crap about him. The guy got hot, angry. He's impulsive. And as an impulsive, angry hothead myself, I get it. That's why I keep saying don't read too much into it. I was very relieved, though, to see this from BBC Sport, and it's been backed up by a couple of other different accounts. It said Darwin has reportedly emerged as a shock target for Barcelona. The forward social media has fueled speculation of summer exit. But then many people have said, don't equate that to... So this, Fabrizio Romano, and I agree with this, and I think it's a good way to put it. He said, nothing is happening so far in terms of Darwin Nunez suddenly leaving Liverpool, and the striker will hold discussions with Arne Slot. Social media activity should not be linked with transfers. I agree. Darwin's a Liverpool player, and he's contracted here, and I hope he stays. You know, for many reasons. One, if we were to sell him, we'd lose a fortune. Two, we've a new coach. Maybe the new coach can unlock that potential. You know, people sometimes are too single-minded when they think of a situation. For instance, if I say sell Salah, people think I hate Salah. Well, it couldn't possibly be that he's 32 with 1 year to go on his contract and earns a lot of money, and I think the club could cash in. Like, that doesn't come into their mind. It's like, you hate this person. Or you hate Szoboszlai because he's not in my hypothetical 11. It's weird. Gaming Dog said, I really hope Darwin is okay mentally more than anything and knows he's adored. Absolutely. Liverpool fans have been amazing in the majority with Darwin. And any fan base is going to have people who go too far in the criticism of a player. We've seen it with Gakpo, we've seen it with Elliott, we've seen it with Jones, we've seen it with Darwin, we've seen it with Salah. That's just the way fan bases are. There are very level-headed people, and then there are people who are completely the other end of the spectrum and go too far. So yeah, like you, I hope he's okay. Thoughts on Dortmund pretty much reaching the Champions League final? Absolutely delighted for them. Absolutely delighted. They're a special club. They are. They're a special club with special fans. You know, we've both got that Kloppo connection, and I'm over the moon for them. I hope they hang on. I hope they beat PSG, and I hope they make it to the final and beat whoever it is. It'd be an amazing story, and I'm certainly going to be cheering them on in the final if they get there. Yeah, it's brilliant. I love it. De Ligt worries me, Joseph, because he got a lot of money very young. You know, with that move from Ajax to Juventus, and then I don't actually know what he earns at Dortmund or at Bayern, but he's a good player. But knowing our club and the way we operate, it doesn't feel like a very realistic signing for us to make with the way we go about transfers. Problem with Darwin abuse is it will only apply more pressure. Of course, but the pressure side of it, Dave, that comes along with being a sports person, you know. We can talk about abuse and, you know, we'll all condemn it and rightly condemn it. But, you know, pressure is part of the job. And you got to deal with that as best you can. You know, some people don't feel an ounce of pressure. I'd be somebody that definitely feels a whole load of nerves. So before I do a live show, I'd have to go through a big long process to be mentally ready for that. And I'm sure somebody like Darwin, I think Darwin with a good sports psychologist and a bit of confidence, I think we have the potential to see a really, really special player. But I guess the question is, where do you draw the line? Where do you say enough is enough? And that there's no correct answer to that because everybody has a different line. For me, I was on the fence, but then I thought about it and I thought, no, give him one more season. I'd like to see if Arne Slot can unlock him. But I feel it very difficult to be critical of anybody else who says it's been nearly 2 seasons now and I feel like I've seen enough. Because, you know, that's also a rational thought process. Thoughts of a window of Gertrude, Diamande, Coop Miners, Bakayoko. Realistic and successful. I think it's definitely a realistic one, Harry. You know, we spoke yesterday about Coop Miners, and there was a piece coming out of Italy. Where was it? A piece coming out of Italy that said Coop Miners' preference is to remain in Italy. That was posted by Transfer Sector, crediting Matteo Moretto. So look, if he stays, no problem. But yeah, as those names you've mentioned are certainly realistic. Honestly, I think he'll be gone in the summer. Darwin is. Are we talking about Darwin? I don't know. Honestly, I haven't got a clue. Yeah, I don't know. What I will say is, I hope he doesn't leave in the summer because I don't want it to end like that. I don't like the idea of somebody going out into the world with a negative experience and view of how things worked out here. So I want us all to have a chance. I want him to have a chance to prove himself. I want us to have a chance to show again that we are a club that, looks out for our guys. And that we aren't represented by that small minority of toxic, vile abuse assholes. What are your thoughts on Elise? I really like him. Really like him. Concerned with the hamstring situation. But no, I really do like him. I think Elise, Kudus, Bakayoko, Nico Williams, Somerville, all realistic, reasonable names. Elise has been more strongly linked to Manchester United, let's be honest about that. But I think as a player, really, really good. Really good. If we sell Darwin, I hope we get Osimhen. Look, I know I'm in the minority on this because enough people have spoken about Osimhen and Liverpool that I clearly know my opinion's different to the majority. But I don't want him. I'd prefer Isak. I'd prefer other options to him. I don't know. There's something about Osimhen and the style of the way he plays. I don't know. For me, it's a no. I don't think there's value in the signing. Before you even look at is he good enough or not, I just don't think there's value there. What have we got? Officials for the game at Monday is Simon Hooper. Assistants will be Adrian Holmes and Tim Wood. Fourth official, Tim Robinson. And VAR, Chris Kavanagh. Assistant VAR, Mark Scholes. Thank you for that one, Mark. Jimenez or Isak, especially Isak, said Dennis. So I'd actually seen Jimenez being interviewed around the Arne Slot situation. Don't know enough about him to have any idea if he'd be able to make the jump from Feyenoord to Liverpool. Craig, I was watching Alice's video on Elise and she said the injury shouldn't be a concern and he's not injury prone. Apparently his injury was managed poorly. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I don't think I don't think anybody could ever say that a hamstring injury is not a concern. When you're having, and look, I totally believe maybe it was managed poorly and dragged out and he was brought back too long and it went on longer than it should have. I can totally believe all that, but speak to the likes of Michael Owen or anybody else who was an explosive player who started to have hammy issues. It can be concerning, but if it is just a one-off thing, then wow, what a player. What a career he's going to have ahead of him because he's defo got the talent. Am I doing shows on Klopp next week? In what sense, Alex? We talk about Klopp every day. What else can we do? We'll obviously... I'll tell you what we will be doing. We'll be having a much longer build-up before the watch-along. So we'll be on an hour and a half beforehand instead of an hour. And our post-match show is going to be longer as well for the last game. But other than that, mate, there's not really much else we can do. We can all talk about our favourite Klopp moments and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, it is what it is. 9 years of Kloppo, and I don't know what we could do differently other than just have fun conversations about the man. Ten Hag to be sacked Sunday night, said Alex. Why do I ignore you? I didn't even know you existed until this minute, mate, but you're definitely getting banned for being a petulant little child. Does that answer your question of why I ignored you? One, I didn't know you existed until this moment, and two, anybody who starts whinging about being ignored, I don't like anyone who feels entitled, mate. Doesn't sit well with me. Can we send a short thank you Klopp videos for you to compile? Sure. I don't know if it would work or not, but we can talk about it in Discord if that makes any sense. What's the plan for the final day? As I said, Glenn, we'll be starting an hour and a half before the game. You know, talking about Klopp and the build-up. We'll do the watch-along. We'll have an extra long match reaction for an hour as well. Do you think Slot will be in the stands for our last game? Absolutely not. I think he has a game that day, if I'm not mistaken, but even if he doesn't, that would just be wrong. Like, it's Klopp's day. You know, you don't want the new manager leering up in the stands there as Klopp's saying his farewells. That'd be weird. Craig, I agree with you on Osimhen. He ghosted in the AFCON. I just don't see Osimhen being prolific in the Premier League. I just don't see it. Yeah, I think that season and that time with Napoli was more of an anomaly, you know, where they had that great campaign and everything went for them, and this season they've been poor. Watching this Champions League games make me miss footy. 4 games out due to hamstring injury. Sorry about your injury, mate, but you know, 4 games isn't bad, to be fair. I'd like to sign Deverich from Augsburg. He can play anywhere in the attacking midfield as a centre forward. He's 25 and Bosnian. The one thing I don't think we need at Liverpool Football Club is another attacking midfielder. Personally, I think we've more than enough in that area of the pitch. The defensive side of it is more where I think we need somebody. You know, we're already overstacked in midfield for me. You know, you've got McAllister, Trent if you want to use him there, Szoboszlai, Elliott, Jones. Did I say Grafenberg? Grafenberg if I haven't already said him. Yeah, we've way too many options in the attacking midfield role. Do I reckon Klopp goes to watch Dortmund in the Champions League final? Don't know. Have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea. Barry, how are we, dude? Welcome in. Barry said, hi Craig, Harvey runs through brick walls. The eye test now is backed up by the numbers in terms of progressive use of the ball too, in a direct positive way. Slot is going to absolutely love him. I was really unpleasantly surprised, Barry, when I did my video earlier about Slot next season and I put Elliott in the team, to see comments again saying Elliott isn't good enough. I don't know if people are just being willfully ignorant, or if it's because Elliott's not a shiny new signing from Brazil or Argentina. But if people watch Liverpool week in and week out and still don't rate Elliott as being good enough to be in and around that first team, I don't know what more he needs to do. That performance that he played against Spurs was imperious. He was fantastic. Capped it off with a worldy goal and an assist for Gakpo. And yet some people are still doubting. And I don't know why. It bothers me. The idea of Harvey Elliott being bought in from Fulham for a really low fee and becoming a superstar excites the hell out of me. It looks like incredible business. Add to that the young man is a Liverpool fan through and through, that he turned down the advances of Real Madrid to come and play for the Reds, and he seems like a really lovely young man as well. I don't get it. I love him. I'm a massive Elliott fan. He's definitely going to be one of the next signed jerseys I get. I wish I had a contact that could, you know, get him to sign it to me or something, but yeah, I love Elliott, and I don't get why people aren't seeing what we're seeing. Jurgen said he'll be back for a couple of Liverpool matches. Deadly. Brilliant. Be lovely to see him back up in the stand, smiling, watching Liverpool tear United a bit, 6-0. Be brilliant. I prefer Elliott in central midfield more than right wing. I think we all do at this point, Dave. I would agree with you on that. I think some of the pundits on Sky were talking about it the same. Elliott looks better. I think Elliott could become our Foden. You know, Foden's brilliant, don't get me wrong, and it's a big shout for me. But I've always thought Elliott could be that David Silva, Phil Foden type player in the Liverpool team. Can you see some ex-players coming back to Anfield to send Jurgen off? I haven't got a clue, Glenn. Yeah, it would be lovely to see, definitely. But I'm not sure what to expect other than tears, because I think we're all going to be a bit emotional on that last Sunday. Is the PSG game over now? I see Ty posted to say PSG no goals in 2 games. Agreed. Our Foden / Palmer is Elliott. And just think about it, Tanya. Like, we paid very little for Elliott. And, yeah, he could be incredible. So, yeah, I love the idea of Elliott being our superstar number 10 between the lines. I'd love Szoboszlai to become that player on one side of him as well. 1 minute to go. Wow, what an achievement from Borussia Dortmund to restrict PSG to no goals over 180 minutes plus stoppage time in the Champions League semi-final is brilliant. Honestly, I'm so happy. I'm so happy PSG aren't getting to the final, because the idea of another state-run club lifting the Champions League, nah. Give me Borussia Dortmund any day of the week. So, fingers crossed. Looks like they're going to get through, and I couldn't be happier. It makes me laugh at Fulham fans when they boo him off the pitch. I don't get that either, Glenn. Like, if Elliott left Fulham for, I don't know, Chelsea, let's say, I'd understand it a bit more. But Elliott left Fulham for the club he supports. If you can't get behind that, I don't know why you'd boo him. It feels weird to me. And he's not like he's a disrespectful dude. I don't get it either. PSG are out. It is over. Wow. Congratulations to Borussia Dortmund booking their place in the Champions League final. What an achievement. I'm so happy for them. So happy for them. Couldn't happen to a better club. Well done. Well done, Dortmund. I'm also happy that PSG crash and burn yet again. That makes me smile. Football won today again, ladies and gentlemen. Football won. So well done, Borussia Dortmund. And I wish them every success in the final. I think now I might watch the final. Now there's more chance of a watch along, because I didn't want to sit there and watch PSG Real Madrid, but I could sit there and watch Dortmund Real Madrid or Dortmund Bayern. Yeah, that'll do. Oh, by the way, for the Belfast show, wait, you're gonna have a great night with us. We've got a brilliant musician coming with us up to Belfast, and we're gonna be belting out all the Liverpool hits. We're going to be singing along. We're going to have fun. Paddy Doyle Music is coming with us, and he's a very talented singer, and I can't wait. He's going to have his guitar with him as well, and we're going to rock, and we're going to have fun. So we have the music going on first, then I'm going to take to the stage, and then we'll finish up with a sing-song as well. And that show is creeping up on us. It is, 24 days until we're in Belfast at the Limelight. So to everyone that's bought tickets to come see us, we'll make sure you have a great night. I can't wait. I love the city of Belfast. So, yay. If you haven't got tickets, don't forget Ticketmaster. There are still tickets available on there. We were able to release an extra 50 or so. So, yeah, do check out Ticketmaster if you haven't. It is an over 18s gig, but the Cardiff one, you can all come to that if you so wish. And again, tickets, either scan that QR code or use the link in the description. And the Cardiff show is 15 quid a ticket, as cheap as we could be. I don't even think that there's any additional charges on top of that. You know, when you go on to buy tickets these days, you see a ticket price and then you end up paying extra and extra. I think it is just straight up 15 quid and 50 quid for 4 tickets. How's everyone coping with the weather? Already too hot for me. Evie, I love the weather. I love good weather, mate. It makes my soul sing, makes me happier. And I love, my ideal life, Evie, is me living in shorts and t-shirt. That's it. A simple man. Just give me shorts and a t-shirt and I'm happy. So, couple of things. We're going to stay on for another 35 minutes because I feel like we're going to get people coming in now after the Champions League footy. So we're going to stay on. Any questions you have, lash them in. Any topics you want us to discuss, lash them in. Again, just a little reminder as well. There is a video up there we put up earlier on that's basically my hypothetical look at how we may look under Arne Slot with a couple of potential signings. Do give it a watch if you get a chance. Am I going to do the dance? I don't know, Ryan. I don't know, mate. Yeah, I don't know. I was more thinking, am I going to sing, to be honest with you, but am I going to do the dance? Maybe. Love the summer, Craig. It makes you feel good. I love it. Love it. I feel like a different human being in the summertime with the good weather. You know, it's brilliant. I love the summertime. And that's why I always talk about wanting to move to a warm country, because it makes me feel much healthier. Right, let's have a look at this. We asked you guys earlier on, what area do you think we most need a signing in? And so far, it's been very clear. Centre-back is the one that you guys think. Defensive midfield, second. Wide forward, only at 9%. You surprised me with that one. Because I would have thought wide forward and centre-back would be the two head-to-head, you know, at the top of that. Because for me, regardless of what happens, I think we need a wide forward for the right-hand side. Not to replace Mo if he stays, but to compete with Mo. Because I feel like we've been light in that area. And yes, we have Cade Gordon. And yes, we have Ben Doak. But there's no guarantee that they're going to be fit or ready to go next season to come in. So I'm surprised. I thought a wide forward would have been much higher up on it. No surprise to see a centre-back though. Topic/debate. People calling for Mo Salah to leave or judging him too harshly. Okay, Owen, let's have this debate. The Mohamed Salah conversation. Shall I counter your initial post, Owen, and we'll go from there? So, Owen, you said people calling for Mo Salah to leave are judging him too harshly. Okay, my response to that is, I think you're assuming everybody wants him to leave purely just because of the numbers. Or everybody be willing to sell him. So my retort to you would be, my own viewpoint on why I would sell Mohamed Salah is not just about numbers, although they do form a little part of it. The eye test, another part. But it's the contract situation. I don't want us to lose Mohamed Salah for free. So for me, it comes down to, can the club recoup a pretty significant amount of money for somebody who is coming to the twilight of their career and is our highest earner? And when I weigh all that up, I think the prudent business decision would be to sell. But I've also said, if he took less money to extend, I'd have no issues with that. So I think the reason is why people want them to be sold, mate. I don't think we can lump everybody into the same cohort. Some people will talk about numbers. Some people will talk about pace. But I think for me, I don't use any one thing to say this guy needs to go because of this. It has to be a culmination of everything. And just to finish up before I go into the comment, I also hate that the club have allowed this to happen. I hate that Virgil van Dijk, Trent and Mo, three very, very, very prominent, important players for us over the years, have been allowed to have 1 year to go on their contract. It doesn't strike me as clever. It doesn't strike me as good business from the football club. So I'm more annoyed that we have to have this conversation because the club allowed it to happen than I am about anyone's opinion on what should happen, if that makes any sense. Craig, Chelsea turned down Elliott when he was younger, saying he was too small to be successful. Good. Their losses most certainly are a gain, and thank you for that, Mark. Craig, you're a very good looking man. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. I think it's the eyes, mate, you know. I'm fat, but, you know, other than that, okay. But I'm also very happily married to a wonderful woman, so there is that. Is Szoboszlai Salah's competition? I think I would love to get Szoboszlai to the right side and see what he could do. Right, there's another good point there from Mason Tino. I guess it leans into the conversation around Salah as well. So for me, Salah needs a competitor. Just for healthy reasons. You know, same as everybody else in the squad. I don't like anybody not having somebody over the shoulder ready to take the jersey. So you talk about centre-backs, midfielders, we can talk about 2, 3, 4 options. But Salah doesn't really have a natural competitor in our squad. Szoboszlai, personally, I don't like him in wide areas. Elliott, I think he's more impactful in the centre. So I wouldn't look at Szoboszlai as a competitor to Mo, personally. Maybe if it's the 4-2-3-1 system, perhaps. You know, because he's not necessarily the very, very forward line. He can drift in as an additional number 10. So yeah, I would say I don't look at him as a competitor for the right wing anyway. Would you take Vitinha? He's a baller. I'd probably prefer Neto than Vitinha. But look, I'm open to whoever the club want, in all honesty. Like, the only thing I'll get angry about is if the club cheap out. If it's clear that we're just going for a cheap signing. Whoever the club go for, if it's the right player for good money, I'll be happy with it. I'm very trusting that we'll get the right people in. But I'm very concerned that the FSG part of it will be to always look for the cheapest. So I hope Edwards pushes back a bit, and I hope that we get players who are ready to go here and now. I think we'd be foolish not to try put Salah at striker. I think he's got untapped potential, almost akin to Ronaldo. So here's the irony, Owen. As much as people think I have an agenda against Salah, I think I was one of the very first people to suggest putting him through the centre. I've gone back at least a year now that I've been saying exactly what you've said. As a player like Mo or Ronaldo or Messi got older, they reinvent their game. And I agree with you. I think Mohamed Salah through the centre could be lethal and could rack up a load of goals. And my problem that we've had with Salah this year has been that we haven't gotten him involved in as many action areas as I'd like to see. So if putting him through the centre increase that, I'm absolutely there. I'm no problem with that. Trotting in very late. Oh, Izzy, how are we? Don't forget to buy tickets for the live shows in Belfast and Cardiff and Liverpool. Well, the Liverpool show isn't on sale yet, to be fair, Izzy, but the Cardiff and Liverpool, or the Cardiff and Belfast ones absolutely are. And Izzy has our tickets already, so Izzy's coming along as well. So yes, please do. And as I said, 15 quid a ticket. You can get them via the QR code or the link in the description. The Belfast show, I think, is £20 a ticket for Belfast. Absolutely not, mate. I don't think you have an agenda at all. I'm not stupid. You're very level-headed about Mo. Ignore the idiots calling you racist because you criticise him. I only look at the Salah situation because of the contract part of it. If Salah had 2 years to go now on his deal alone, I wouldn't be talking about selling him. If Verge had 2 years to go on his deal, I wouldn't be concerned. But I am concerned because of where we're at with them. Because, in my humble opinion, the ball is in Trent, Verge's and Salah's court now. I think they have the leverage in these conversations. And again, I would say, how did a football club that's supposed to be clever like us lose the strength in these negotiations? Maybe I perceive this all wrong. But for me, I feel like the longer it goes on, the more power goes to the agents and the players, and the more it's taken away from the club. And my view as a Liverpool fan is I always want the club to be protected. Love the streams. What is Palmer's ceiling? I don't know if he has one, mate. Honestly, I have to say, I remember speaking with Stephen McInerney, or McInerney, excuse me, esteemed company. Many of you will know him as. I remember speaking with Stephen a few years ago, and we were talking about Cole Palmer. Stephen obviously is a City fan, Palmer coming through there, and he was telling me then, this kid is special. This kid is going to be special. So I have to admit that I was really, really surprised to see Manchester City willing to sell Cole Palmer. So what is the ceiling? I don't know if he has one, mate. He can be whatever he wants to be. He looks like an incredibly assured, talented, ambitious young man, and I think you have stolen him for Manchester City, even at the price you paid for him. He looks like an incredible player. One of the signings of the summer, absolutely. I hope Royce lifts the Champions League. Yeah, it'd be lovely. Cop Centre, mate, it'd be lovely. The whole story of Dortmund and getting to the final is just a beautiful, beautiful one that I think all real football people, football fans can get behind it. It is magnificent of them to be in the final. I'm over the moon for their fans. Glenn said, wasn't a fan of the new kit, but when I seen a close-up yesterday, I thought it was nice. Yeah, that's not unusual, to be fair, Glenn. I think a lot of the time with these leaked shirts online and stuff, they don't do justice to the jersey when you see it in real time. For me, I still don't like the collar, and there's nothing going to get me past that collar personally. But other than that, I can understand where you're coming from. Did I keep my taxi plate? No. So what I actually had to do with it, excuse me, I had to sell it to pay for the rest of my wedding. That's truly what happened. So we're getting closer and closer to our wedding, and I needed to free up cash, and I had to sell the taxi plate at the time. So yeah, that was what happened with my taxi plate. I finished paying for my wedding with it because I didn't want to go into debt to get married. So to pay off the rest of the wedding, I sold the taxi plate. Kudus has talked about Thiago being his favourite player and Anfield being the best stadium he played at when he was at Ajax. A perfect match, maybe. I hope so, Aaron. I very much like Kudus. Again, though, it feels like one of these weird situations where why do we wait so long? You know, why didn't we make that move when he was at Ajax, when West Ham did? And it's a similar situation that I said about Inacio as well. You know, here we are talking about maybe signing him for 60 million euro, when last year we were still talking about him, but we were talking about him at 40 million euro. And I feel like the club sometimes cost themselves quite a bit of money waiting around for an extra year or so. Virgil van Dijk is another great example. He was recommended to Brendan Rodgers by Gary McAllister when he was at Celtic, and we turned our nose up at it. Cristiano Ronaldo could have been at Liverpool, but Liverpool's money men didn't want to pay £10 million for a teenager. You know, football's full of these type of stories, and Kudus, he's proven he can do it in the Prem now. So for me, I don't know what the clause is, but if it's anyway realistic, I'd be all over it. We as a club can't let these players go for free, said that guy. I agree, mate. I agree. You know, imagine Salah leaves for free in a year or two. That means we will have let Salah, Firmino and Mane go for a combined fee of about 35 million euro, which is scandalous. By the way, Craig, happy corner taken quickly day. Oh, is it the anniversary of that? Nice. What a moment. Still, I think I've said this, Glenn, loads of times, but I still when I watch that clip back, I still feel like the ref's going to blow it up and say the corner was taken too quickly. But yeah, what a memory, what a day. Craig, if we got those players you mentioned, they might not be the same player and be as good. Maybe not. but we would have found out for a cheaper amount of money than having to pay the premium we ended up paying. Because remember, we have taken risks before that backfired. The likes of Lazar Markovic, as an example. Remember, we had to buy Chelsea out of their first option on him. And yeah, that one we took too early and it didn't work out. So maybe there's something to be said about allowing these players to continue their development elsewhere if you're happy to pay that premium. If I remember correctly, John Barnes did the same. As he got older, he came further into the middle as opposed to being an outside left. Yeah, look, football, loads of these top players have done that over the years. And, you know, putting Mo Salah in front of goal is no harm. He knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. So, yeah, I just don't... Mo isn't the wide forward that he once was. He's not that pacey, dribble past players type of player anymore. He just isn't. But he has better attributes of passing, assist making, and putting him in front of goal. I think hopefully we'd see the numbers ratchet back up again. It would also mean that he doesn't have to do as much defensive work, hopefully not tiring him out as much. Because if you think of players that maybe clubs would allow one player not to track back and defend, you'd usually always have one player that you would leave near the halfway line to occupy their centre-back or two and to help with a counter-attack. And if Salah was that guy, brilliant. Maybe it'll save some muscle fatigue and stuff as well. Can we have a centre-back poll? Not now, Harry, because it's a little bit too late, but we can do it tomorrow, mate, if you remind me. Do I hope Liverpool go for Adidas next year? I believe they have. I believe it's a done deal, and God, yes. I mean, if you know one thing about me on this channel, it's I wear Adidas. So, yeah, Adidas and Liverpool, match made in heaven for me. Wasn't the money man, it was Phil Thompson said no to Ronaldo. That's not my understanding, Francis, to be honest, mate. My understanding was different. That it was Rick Parry and David Moores that wouldn't pay the dough. But either way, mistake, I think it's fair to say. What date is Belfast? I might come up from Derry for the day. What? It's Friday 31st, Luke. Friday 31st of May. And yeah, if you do come up, mate, brilliant. Make sure to come up and say hello. We'll be doing a meet and greet afterwards anyway. So yeah, 31st of May, Friday night. And then it's also Friday in Cardiff, 2nd of August in Cardiff for the Friday show. What do I think of Karim Adeyemi? I think he's brilliant. Obviously, interest was there initially with Adeyemi before he went to Dortmund. Again, probably the right move for him, going to Borussia Dortmund. Great club, great history of bringing through young talent. So I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't be against going back in for Karim Adeyemi. I think he's a really, really, really good young footballer. Price for which? Price for Belfast tickets are £20 plus whatever Ticketmaster's booking fee is. Price for Cardiff is 15, or 4 tickets, or as we call it, a family ticket for £50. And same for Liverpool, it'll be £15 a ticket for Liverpool as well. I hope this doesn't sound stupid, but are you recording the live shows? No, not at all sounds stupid, mate. No, we're not recording them, as it happens now, because they're intimate things, live shows, and you say things on a live show that you probably wouldn't say on a YouTube stream. You know, some more, I don't want to say controversial, but some more close to the bone opinions on the industry, on... You tell stories that you wouldn't get away with telling on YouTube because you get in a bit of trouble. So, yeah, I like being present as well at them, and I don't like the idea of... We're there together to spend the night, to have fun, and it's for those people that are there, if you get me. What's your opinion on Dortmund making it to the Champions League final? I'm over the moon for them, mate. Riley, absolutely over the moon for them. It's a brilliant story. It's a good feeling. PSG are taken the piss, in my opinion, for many, many years with how they've spent money. And to see, once again, them fall short makes me happy. See a proper, good, solid, sincere club like Dortmund. It just shows with the right team spirit, with the right coaching, anything is possible. You don't need to have a team filled full of superstars if you have the right balance and the right mix. And I love it. I love it. It's a real win-win for football. When's Liverpool tickets on sale? So it's listed on the Hot Water Comedy Club website now, but the tickets are going on sale on May the 20th. So yeah, May the 20th for Liverpool. It's going to be at the Blackstock Market, the new venue that Hot Water Comedy Club have built. And it is going to be the Sunday night, I think, if my memory's right. Will people be allowed to record at the live shows? Of course, people can record anything they want, mate. I'd prefer they didn't, being sincere. And the reason I say that is we'll do a meet and greet afterwards for photos and all that kind of stuff. But people can do what they want, mate. If you want to record at the show, record away. Who do you think will win the Champions League final? Whoever wins the Madrid and Bayern Munich side of it, which I think will be Madrid. Actually, do you know what? If Dortmund play Bayern in the final, I'd say it could be a 50-50 show. But if Madrid get into the final, you'd have to favour Madrid with the experience, with the team they have, the coach they have. I hope Dortmund pull it off and win it. I really do. But I've always felt like whoever came through on the other side of the draw would likely win it. If we win the league, I'll jump in a swimming pool full of sausages. Why would you waste all them sausages? That's an awful waste of sausages. It is a Sunday, is it? Yeah, there you go, Izzy. And also, for Cardiff especially, all of us are going to be in Cardiff. Ben, I think Ben's wife might be there. Connor's partner, myself, Sabrina, and Lucas is going to be with us for the Cardiff show as well. We're travelling over on the ferry. We're bringing Lucas with us. And Lucas has never seen his daddy on a stage or in a show, so he wants to come along. So yeah, you'll get to meet the real star of the family as well. Real Madrid and Dortmund in the final, and Dortmund winning, Bellingham missing out. It would be pretty funny, mate. It would. I can't lie. It would be pretty funny. Do I think Jota will be fit for the Villa game? He should be. Based off the initial diagnosis of 2 weeks, he should be. Can Newlon come? Oh, you'll see Newlon. Don't you worry about that. We'll get the old Newlon up on the projector. Don't worry. At least for Belfast, I can guarantee a Newlon, yes. Cardiff, we're not 100% certain if we're going to use a screen or not in Cardiff, but we may well do. And also, don't think I'm doing a tap of fucking work on any of these shows, by the way. You're doing the work. I'm just going to be there to be a conduit between the chat and what we're talking about. But I'm not going out of work. No. You guys are doing the work. Do you think that in general the Premier League isn't dominant now? The year we beat Spurs in the European League, that was an all Chelsea Europa League final. Chelsea Arsenal Europa League final too. I still think it's the strongest league. This has been a poor year in Europe for English clubs, definitely. And we've been part of that. But overall, maybe I'm biased because I watch the Premier League, but I do think it has the best strength and depth through the league. But I would have to say as well, the Bundesliga has made great strides in recent years with the strength of that league. La Liga is a 2/3 team league with some decent teams below. Italy's fallen away a bit. France, I think, has come along. You've got some really good players that have come through Ligue 1 in recent years. I think European football is in a healthy position for the amount of players that are coming through right across the board. But I still think the Premier League's the best league in the world. Nothing will change my mind on that. I'll try and source a new long cardboard cutout, said Izzy. There we go. We love that, Izzy. Just woke my mum up to ask if she wanted to come meet you in Liverpool. Craig, I said I would pay for the tickets. We love that, Lewis. We love that, mate. Well in. And of course she wants to come and see us. Of course she does. I'm the housewife's favourite. I think we need a new left back, said Alex Roach, a new backup left back. I agree, Alex. The only reason I haven't really spoken about a left back so much is a lot of things would have to happen. We'd have to move Costas on. And I don't know if the club would view that Chambers would be ready to step up at left back. So that's why I've been a little bit hesitant in speaking about the left back situation. I still feel Andy Robertson will be the number one left back, but I do think a younger pretender to the throne, if you want to call it that, wouldn't be the worst idea. Opinions on Tyler Morton coming back from loan. I feel really grubby saying this. I don't think Tyler Morton will make it at Liverpool. And that could be my own ignorance. But I do feel that Tyler Morton is deserving and more than good enough to have a Premier League career. And it could be my own snobbery. But all of his loan spells have gone very well. He is very consistent. And I could see why he would be given a chance. I can certainly see that Arne Slot might want to have a look at him. Absolutely. But cutting edge, being ruthless, not sure. Not sure. Did you see the stare from Keane on Sky about Haaland? I didn't, no, but I think that the whole Roy Keane, Alfie Inga Haaland stuff probably plays into Roy Keane's view on young Erling Haaland. Opinions on Milos Kerkez from Bournemouth. Is it wrong that I read that opinions on Mila Kunis? Because when I glanced down, that was my initial thoughts were, somebody wants me to talk about Mila Kunis. Bournemouth have some great players, mate. Some really good players, and Iriola's done a cracking job with them this season. But I have to say again, I'm going to be honest and say I don't know all that much about him. Thanks for your stream tonight. I appreciate you guys dropping in. It's been a quiet one for the last few days because, Champions League's been on tonight, and interest wanes a little bit towards the end of the campaign. So I've enjoyed them. I enjoy quiet streams as well because it gives us more of a chance to get through more comments and chat with more people. Statue or stand after Jurgen? For me, I like the idea of a stand. I think the main stand, there's no sponsor on it. Why not? The problem there is that once you start naming a stand, so let's say we called the main stand the Jurgen Klopp stand, you can never really put a sponsor on it then. You could say like the Coca-Cola Jurgen Klopp stand or whatever, but I think stand. Quiet stream, 985 people here. Yeah, it is though. Like our averages lately have been about 2,000 to 2,500 for a new show, and even a watch along. Like recently, our numbers we broke our own record. We had 13,200 in the chat for one of the watch alongs recently, which is a record for us. But our numbers are through the roof this year. It's been truly amazing. Just amazing. The Klopp Cop. It's a nice ring to it. Don't like the sponsor thing anyway. I understand the business, but just not a fan of hate it when they started renaming entire stadiums here in the US. I don't like the idea of naming a whole stadium. I don't. I'm with you on that. And you can call Anfield what you like. It's always going to be referred to as Anfield. It's like St. James's Park. They can throw Sports Direct all they wanted on that. It was only ever been called St. James's Park. So I'm with you on that. I don't like the whole stadium being named, but I'm nothing against a stand being used as an example to generate money for a club. Is the Champions League game tomorrow on RTE? Not sure, Jared. Haven't looked. But tomorrow, I'm going to head off in a second, but tomorrow we will be live at about 6 o'clock, 6:15. And then we'll be finished allowing you guys to go and watch the Real Madrid and Bayern Munich game. So we will be on earlier tomorrow. And again, if you want to help us out, all we need to do is sell 2 tickets a day for the Cardiff show, and it'll be completely sold out by the time it gets there. So be that guy or girl today and buy those 2 tickets and treat yourself to a great show in truly an impressive venue, and I can't wait for it. These are going to be the last live shows we ever do. I'm not doing any more after these. So Belfast, Cardiff, Liverpool, and that's it. No more Anfield Agenda live shows. We'll do some meet and greets down the line. We'll travel around and say hi to people, but no more shows because they really, really, really scare the shit out of me, and I'm not even lying to you. So yeah, this is the 3, and we're going to go out with a bang. So do come along if you get a chance. If not, we hope to catch up with you soon, and I will defo see you legends tomorrow. Thanks for another fun stream tonight. Appreciate all your support as always. Do drop a like before you head off. Let's get it up to 500 likes. So if you haven't hit the like button, please do. And I will see you tomorrow. Much love. Bye-bye.